All right, good morning and welcome to turn 7. I've received the orders from both sides. Let's take a look at what we have here. Medium Hero is going to join these skirmishers. These skirmishers are crossing the river, so I'm going to just move them to straddle it. Come on. He's rejoined and is still fatigued. All right, let's hop back to this side. So the cannon have orders to fire at will. These skirmishers have orders to cross the wall and move up to half a move. I've already ruled that crossing the wall is going to be 3 inches of their move. So there's 3, and I assume they wanted to move half their movement so they can still shoot. So since they move 12 minus 3, they still get 3 inches of movement, taking them to 6. Cannons could potentially take that shot, but that would be very wasteful, and they have previously ordered that those guys are primarily to be engaging the horse. So I'm not going to do that to the team. That would be very, very unclear. So skirmishers near the farm, these guys, move east next to the 10 arquebuses. So we're going to check and see what the range is here, but I think they're moving out of range, and the answer is yes, they're going to be completely out of range. So hopping back to blue orders. Heavy horse are resting. Those skirmishers drop the wall. Everything here is advancing 6, but first we got to get stuff out of the way. Center skirmishers, advance 6, fire at will, prioritizing arquebuses. So we're going to move these guys 6. Not an exact science here. 6. Will they have a shot? Yes, they'll have a shot, but their priority is going to be the arquebuses. Now, because they're moving half a move, essentially, I'm going to handle half a move on that side before I handle the firing. Okay, arquebuses. No, heavy crossbowmen, sorry. Face south, advance 6, fire at will. So facing south is a quarter of a move, which they move 12, so they still have 9 left. Advance 6, so they can advance 6. Now, whether they get to fire or not is a matter of opposed dice, if I'm remembering correctly. Again, this is going to be no pass-through fire and more than half a move here, so we'll wait before we handle the shooting. Let's get these guys all moved up 6 real quick. Right, so they're moving, so the cannons can't fire right now. Yeah, those all advance 6. Arquebuses wheel to the south-southwest. So south, wheel south-southwest, face enemy arquebuses, fire at will. Wheel to the south-southwest, fire at will. So I think they're going to end up moving to do this wheel, right? 45 would be here. South-southwest is more like here, right? Does that look about? Yeah, that looks about right. That moved them, I'm going to call it 5 inches. So they have moved only half of their movement. We'll give it 5.5 inches. All right, cool. Just to make it closer to half here. Eastern skirmishers advance 6, fire at will. So they don't get pass-through fire. Those guys moved across the river, so we're just moving these up to move these guys up, and then they'll shoot during the missile phase. All the shooting will take place during the missile phase, since you can only do pass-through fire when stationary. Okay. So, have we got any movement left here? No. These guys have all moved up. What we're missing is the red movement. Skirmishers near the river moved. 10 arquebuses move east to take a position in front of the heavy foot. It just says move east. Oh, wheel to the enemy if possible afterwards. So move east. So they're trying to get about here. And then wheel if possible. So to get there is going to take up almost, well, it will take up all their movement. And they won't really need to wheel to the arquebuses because the arquebuses on the enemy side have accommodated them. So it's more a matter of where do they end up. So somewhere in this area is the full move for the arquebuses. And they don't need to wheel. They will need to basically do a facing move to fire next turn, which won't be a problem for them. Okay. Skirmishers near the farm. Move east up to the next to the 10 arquebuses. Move east up next to the 10 arquebuses. Wheel to the enemy if possible. They don't have to wheel. They do facing changes for free. So we're going to move these guys up next to the arquebuses, and they can move. It says move them next to the arquebuses. It doesn't say anything about firing for these guys. I'm going to prioritize their movement instead of firing. Oh, these guys only move 9. So they're moving a full move. If they want to fire, they have to get an opposed dice roll. Large unit of arquebuses, move to be in line with the skirmishers. Move to be in line with the skirmishers. So we've got no orderers on the horse or the footman. This is the last movement. They can accommodate this easily. That's only going to take them, let's be careful here. It's only going to take them 6, so these guys are actually going to have a shot if possible. So we're going to move this block out of the way temporarily. We're going to push these guys up. They're 6 inches. So Cannon already said I'm not going to take the shot just at skirmishers. Arquebuses, do they have a shot? No. These bowmen, do they have a shot? No. These arquebuses, do they have a shot at 18? No. Check on this side. Do we have anything at 18? No. Do they have anything at 18? Not yet, no. These guys have a shot, and those guys, they're moving, but they have a shot too. They've moved their full move. These guys moved 6 inches, so they've only moved half their move. So I'll have to make a ruling on that. Do these guys at 24 have a shot? No. Do these guys at 24 have a shot? Yes, but their priority of target is the arquebuses. So do they have a shot at the arquebuses? They don't. So they will take this shot. So we've got a shot here at the enemy skirmishers. How many do we have here? We've got 12. 12. These guys I've said are half armored. Number firing 12. Got to divide them into equal groups, so it's 5 or 6. They'll do 2 casualties no matter what. Can't be passed through fire, and those guys did move up 6. So now I've got to look and see if they get a second shot. Rate of fire. So archers and longbowmen may fire every turn. If they do not move and are not meleeed, they may fire twice. If they're moved up to 1/2 their normal movement, they may fire once, which is what they did. If they're moved over half of that, they have to make a dice roll. So they don't need to make a dice roll. They automatically fire once, and they will impose 2 casualties on these skirmishers, which I'll just drop out here before I run out of time. Okay, so that's their fire. No fire going back the other way because the range is too long. Let's handle this fire. These guys are moved. They will have to make an opposed dice roll. So I'm going to roll a black dice for them and a white dice for these guys. So these guys, their dice, 5. These guys, 2. They get no shot. These guys, firing back the other way, they moved half a move. They get to fire at half armored, but I'm going to add partial cover because these guys are in the river. So I'm going to subtract off the dice roll if it matters, which they still have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. They still have 12, so that divides into 6. Oop, that's right, I divided this into 6, didn't I? So that actually would have been 4 casualties amongst these guys. Okay, we're going to take out 4 casualties amongst those guys for 12 men firing. For 12 men firing, because 2 ranks can fire, it's going to be 2 and 2. Doesn't matter what the dice roll is, so it's going to be 4 more. Now here's where it gets interesting. 2, 4. These guys are going to be down and need to make an excess casualties roll. So excess casualties roll. Let's just roll the dice and see what we get, and then we'll check it out. They rolled a 5. I don't care how you slice it, a 5. They do have a leader attached. So once again, this leader is going to be leaderless because that only bumps it to a 6. Those guys are skirmishers, which is light foot. Excess casualties. Okay, so I found it. The light foot, they take casualties at 25%, and they need an 8 or better. So like I said, the firing, I gave them -1, but dice roll didn't matter because there are 12 men firing. So 12 men firing imposed 4 more casualties. That took these guys down, I think they're down a grand total of 8. Let's take a look. So there are 5 blocks of skirmishers over there. So this would have been 4 blocks, this would have been 16. So we've got 4, 8, 9 left out of 16. That's close to 50% casualties. They needed an 8 or better. I'm going to give them the benefit of this hero being attached. Doesn't matter. These guys rolled a 5 and are consequently eliminated from play. Okay, so looking at the fatigue situation, this guy is middle of the river, I'm going to say. He has been shot at. His unit's been shot out under him. He did incur 1 more fatigue, so he's more than fatigued at this point. No fatigue. These arquebuses do incur fatigue because they moved that way in column. Let me get this guy put in column so I remember that. They moved the full extent of their movement because they're trying to get in front of the heavy foot here. These skirmishers moved up to 9, so they incurred fatigue. These heavy horse did not. These heavy horse did not. These arquebuses moved up one line and incur 1 fatigue. I'm rethinking that now. No, I don't think those guys get fatigue, so those guys do not get fatigue. Moving over to this side, these guys hopped the wall and moved up to half of their move. Pretty sure they already had 1 fatigue, so we're going to keep that at 1 fatigue. No fatigue, no fatigue. All these units moved up 6 inches, so I guess I've screwed this up. Yes, these guys get fatigue because they only move 9. And so do the only foot, and so do the cannons. So once again, this whole block takes some fatigue. These guys did not incur any fatigue because they moved up only half their move. These guys do not incur fatigue because they went from the oblique and then moved up to half their move. And these guys did not incur fatigue, although they are already at 4 because they moved only, I'm going to say, half a move. Just this back slightly. And then these guys, again, moved half a move, so no more fatigue. So 2, 4, 1 across the bottom, 1, 1. So fatigue is being pretty well managed because you guys are being very non-aggressive. You're not in range yet. Get in range, guys.